welcome to my life. I am Dibuseng Mhlotshane. For those who don't know, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. We are going to read If the Dead Could Talk by Juliette Mnqeta. Thank you to NB Publishers. So we're going to read chapter 10. Where to, Mtase? Zweli asked. Azania scrolled through the PDF of the will Mr. Titus had sent her. 19 Rover Street, she said, and entered the address on Google Maps. What's there? That's the house my dad left me. Well, one of the houses. Zweli whistled. Ish, you are loaded now, ne? She ignored him. This address is where he was killed. Zweli asked no more questions. He didn't try to talk sense into her that they were heading to a crime scene involving an important government official that had probably been bad off and was most likely under surveillance by the police. Azania glanced down at the map on the phone intimately and then gazed around their surroundings as they drove. From the N2, they turned right onto George Rex Drive. On their left was a townhouse complex, a conspicuously painted peach guest house, and a restaurant with an Eastern European sounding name advertising itself as a five-star outlet. On their right, she caught a glimpse of blue and white domestic buildings seen to float on a large body of water. The map showed that the land was called Tinsen Island. So guys, so far I feel like who's this guy really knows something about the death. But let's continue reading. They were a piece of her father, although she still couldn't marry the setting to a struggle veteran. The atmosphere smelled of old South African money and foreigners who would only be seen in the country during summer and spring. They entered Armstrong Drive. Along the lengthy road, two older black women walked on the side of it with two young ladies behind, speaking loudly, gesturing with their hands and laughing. Azania imagined it was still quite a long way to go to catch whatever transport there was to take them back to their homes in the township. So they might as well stroll along in good spirits. She formed a picture in her mind of her grandmother, who had also been a domestic worker in her younger years. In Azania's imagination, her grandmother also swayed her ample body side to side, taking short strides with these women. Hi guys, welcome. We are reading If the Dead Could Talk by Juliette Mnqeta. Thank you to NB Publishers. I'm reading chapter 10. She snapped out of her daze when Google Maps instructed that they turn right. They entered a road named Langs Way, which still couldn't get over the gap between the very rich and the poorest of the poor. The four domestic workers she had seen earlier might have been going home to shacks. Finally, they turned left onto the street that had Rover Street as its sign. Your destination should be on the left. Zweli stopped the car before a double gate that had a yellow tape wrapped across its bars. SA Police Services was written on it. You have arrived at your destination. Zweli clicked his tongue and then gaped at the house that stood before them. Yane, our old man was the bomb. A chuckle escaped Azania. Zweli could always find humor even in the direst situations. They sat in silence for a moment. As Azania stared ahead, she couldn't make a sense of what she was feeling. A piece of her father was standing before her, but she was dead. She could she would always only have a piece. She would never have him. Where had he been? Where had he been when she learned to crawl then walk? We had we had Where had he been when other children in the New Britain could point their fathers out, even when the men were clearly ducking from their children's view? Where had he been to chase boys away, to threaten them when they came near her? And now he just leaves her big house and a large bank account. Two big houses, like that was supposed to make his absence okay. Hi guys, welcome. Hi Ruby. Hi Mori. How you guys doing? I hope you guys are well. We're reading this book by Juliette Mnqeta. Thank you to be publishers. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Saturday. So let's continue reading. Are we still reading? Yes, Mori, we're still reading that one. We're still reading that one. Hi, Sosa. I hope I'm saying your name right. Hi. Lefty had got off easy. So what's the plan, Mtase? Azania was silent. That yellow tape barred her from going to her own father's house. She clenched her fist. Sorry about that. She clenched her fist. Let's go stand by the gate. Two duckies standing at the gate. In this hood. Azania laughed. Since when have you ever been of a little troubles, really? He grunted. She took it that he wasn't going to stop her. Azania stepped out and walked to the iron gates. She stood on her toes and rested her forehead against the black bars. The driveway was paved with red clay bricks all the way up to the sealed double doors. Otherwise, it was just a modern style house that looked like all the other houses in the neighborhood. There were no traces of her father's character. She had really approach and stand beside her. So what's the deal? He asked. Do you know if he had like a wife or girlfriend or something? Azania sighed. The one person who would know all of that hasn't wanted my dad near our home for as long as I can remember. So, like what? The relationship didn't last long. I don't know, really. That's the problem. I don't know anything. But he definitely wasn't married. How would you know? Why leave everything to illegitimate, illegitimate kid when you have a wife? As really true. There was silence again. It was almost like Portia had read Azania's mind. The phone rang. This time Azania answered. I'm in Kings now, Mama, she said as a greeting. What? When did you know that he moved there after he retired and that you are also the executor to his estate? Portia was quiet. Yes, she eventually said. Azania heard her sigh. Baby, I'm sorry, we need to talk. Okay, but another quick question. Do you know if he lived alone? That wouldn't be any of my business. Do you maybe know why he retired early? Why does all of that matter now, baby? What does it change? Azania shut her eyes when she she could feel how defeated her mother sounded. She gulped. Mama, I'll call you back a little later when I figured out few things, okay? Is really with you. Azania was silent but glanced up at her friend. Fine, Portia said. Be careful, don't do anything that breaks the law. Sure, Mama, I love you. Azania hung up before her mother could say she loved her back. She didn't want to feel any more twinges of guilt. Portia had raised her without Lefty, but now their daughter was on a mission to learn more about a man who had chosen not to be there. Sure, sure, there had been financial help, plenty of it too, but it takes a whole lot more to raise a daughter than coughing out money. Portia had done the hard bit. Azania sighed. Never spoke about Lefty easily, but there were times that Azania could hear the fondness in her tone when she would say some things about him. Azania knew for sure that her grandfather hadn't had a high opinion of Joseph Lefty Mafu, though. A conversation she had with her now late grandfather played in her mind. She was 50 and was visiting her grandparents for a weekend. They also lived in Zokofa Street, close to where fatherless Azania and her mother had lived. The unforgiving sun spread its heat that day, so that Azania and her young cousins, who had fathers, had to be confined inside the house. Yes, Mori, I'm really enjoying the book. It's so nice. It is a thriller. Would you get another thriller? Definitely. I wanna read Verity by Colleen Hoover. I don't know if you're aware of that author. I wanna read that one. I think that's gonna be my next read for May, because now I'm currently reading 2 books and I have 1 audio that I'm listening to, so I don't want to read more books. I just want to keep it at 3, and then next month I'm gonna read Verity by Colleen Hoover. She's also a brilliant writer. I love how she writes. I love her style of writing. So yeah, do you guys read? Can you recommend any book to me that I can check out and do a review? I'll gladly accept the book recommendations. Anything. Oh, also, I'm also enjoying Patient 12A. It's a memoir by Lesedi Molefi. I hope you guys have seen it. Otherwise, I'm gonna read it to you again. Or I'm gonna read it to you. So guys, I don't want to do this live to be long. I'm going to cut it here, and then we'll continue chapter 11 next week Saturday. Thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. If you want recommendations, I can recommend a few books, but first I need to find out what you like, because I'm also into poetry. You know, there are plenty of books. What do you like? Tell me what you like. What do you like? Can recommend a few. Hold on. I can recommend a few. Hold on, I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. So, if you are into poetry, this is a girl. Things I've never said to myself. And actually, there's two more that you can look at from this author. And then Colin Hoover, definitely. Oh, definitely. I love her writing style. Girl, you won't regret it. There's also a movie on this book. And then, if we're keeping it local, Sunyati. Sunyati is the boss, you know. She writes so well as well. So, these are the 3 books that I can recommend for now. So yes, that's that. Thank you guys for tuning in. See you next time. Peace. I think you need to go back to the movie or read the book. One of the two. What I like about this book is that how it's written, even when you watch the movie, it's the same as this. So please go back to the movie. What do they say? PG is advised. So keep the young one out, please. Hi Kim, how are you? How you doing? Cool stuff, Modi. Please tell me how it goes. Okay guys, I'm gonna leave now and finish my reading. See you guys next week, Saturday. I think I'm gonna do my last on Saturday. I think so. Okay, bye. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.